So this is a overview of the triple transformer setup. A floodlight here because this is the only way to power it. It's from these power points because I got a 32 amp circuit on them just for these two dedicated ones. So I can't use any of the other benches. It has to be here. So it's 3 arc welder transformers. They're all wound with was it 00 gauge? So that's about 67 mil. I think they're one turn on each one. All of those are connected via aluminium bus bars, which get very hot because they are not the correct size for the cable. So that's the bus bar, and you know it's what, like half the size of one of these, and there's 3 of them all in parallel. So it definitely pulls a bit too much power. I'm just using my shitty phone for this because I don't know, I don't give a fuck. And so this main orange one, that's the actual feed for the 3 transformers. This separate one here is simply to power the fans and the contactors. I made them separate because originally I wanted it so that you couldn't operate, you could unplug the transformers to ensure they would never turn on even if someone had hit the go button, because I need these so that you can unplug it and keep the fans running so that it wouldn't, if it got too hot, you could cool them down effectively and quickly. So these are out of arc welders and they've been rewound, so they've got big fans on them. There are contactors behind for each one. These are just big contactors. They've all got switching for each one, which then go to these 2 switches. This is a big like 32 amp switch or something. That's the main isolator for all of these. This little light switch here, that simply allows you to turn the control circuits on, and it keeps the fans on, but they're quite loud, so I won't turn them on because they're a bit loud. But yeah, that allows you to keep them on while turning that off. Ideally I want it so that you can't turn that on while all of these are on, because the inrush is massive. It's huge. It's like almost 60 amps from the street that it will pull on a dead short. So, and then that's just the actual power it pulls. The inrush on top of that, you know, is 4 or 5 times that, so it's absolutely huge. It trips the entire house. So these are emergency stop buttons that have been rewired underneath, so pushing them down actually turns the contactor on. Each one does a transformer obviously, and that's connected via these. So these are self-locking, so they all, once you've turned it on, it stays on. I made them individually so that it slowly turns on. It's like a poor man's, I don't know, variable speed or variable frequency or whatever, because I'm cheap. You can't turn the transformers on at all without the fans being on. They have to be on, or else these do nothing. If they're on, then... So fans need to be running. That's just to stop it from overheating. Yeah, and then you've got the main switch to turn these on, which is still a problem because you can turn that on, turn all these on, and then flick that switch and it trips. But I'm the only one that uses it, so it doesn't really matter. I've got all the 3 outputs going to a single 60-something mil cable, which obviously doesn't have the insulation because it instantaneously melted off like straight away. The cable's definitely seen better days. I'm going to be replacing that soon because I got a new transformer over here that will be taking 240 mil instead of 60, which these are limited to. So that should be interesting. On a direct short, turning them on straight away, you'll peak about 3,500 amps with a constant of, you know, if it's only a small if it's only a small object, you know, you're getting like 2,000. But now the corrosion, the cable wear, and by the time the bars get hot and everything else warms up, you're looking at about 1,500 constant amps. So obviously the voltage it's only about one or something volts, so you can just grab these with your hands and nothing happens. You can grab the bus bars, nothing happens. Obviously don't shove your finger inside the contactor because something will happen. But the output's so low that you can just touch them. Normally I use like a pair of pliers because it's not the electrical, like the shock, it's the heat. They get so hot so quickly that it burns your hands almost straight away. So this was inspired by photonic induction on YouTube, but he doesn't seem to upload very often anymore, and that's what that transformer's for. I'll be trying to get up to his level, but this was a good fun project. I got these arc welders for like $15 each, so it didn't cost much. The cable was a bit expensive because back then I only had access to auto cable, so that was expensive. The rest is like eBay and like second hand, one of the arc welders. So yeah, not too bad.